All right, welcome to part 4 of the Illustrator Basics training. We should have this part of our Lego man created. We are now going to work on the head and neck. So some more shape drawing. We are number 13 if you're following along with printed instructions. To draw the head and neck, we're going to draw a long rectangle for the neck, so it'll be behind the head. So let's come back over here to your rectangle tool. Remember, you do have to click and hold. If you use the rounded rectangle, that's on top now. So we switch to the regular rectangle. We are going to go ahead here and make this yellow because most little Lego people are yellow. Let's choose the yellow color. And then go ahead and draw that stick that we have that goes through the Lego like so. All right, there we go. And again, I like to draw mine huge and we can make them littler later on. After that, we'll take our rounded rectangle tool. Remember, click and hold rectangle, grab your rounded rectangle, and we're going to draw this part. Okay? Not too great looking here, not a big deal. I'm going to go back to my home base, my black arrow tool. We're going to position this like so. And that's probably way too fat of a head there, so here we go. All right, notice how I drug. Oops, I double clicked. Be careful. If your gray bar pops up and things gray out, just double click anywhere in the white space. All right, I want to make sure it's centered, so make sure it hits your center point like so. If for some reason yours isn't going, it may be that you do not have your snap options set. Now, I showed you how to go to the window up here to set that view, but you can also just click in the gray space, and in the Properties panel, we have snap options right here, and this is how you can turn those different options on and off, okay? You can also just grab your two pieces and center them, right? So we've got all kinds of different ways to go about doing this. Now, we're not going to group these yet. We are going to put a thin outline around the yellow. Remember, this is called a stroke. And so we're going to click the button on the control bar at the top or on the Properties panel at the right. You can just click on one, come choose the color black, and then we're just going to make sure that this stroke is set to 1 point. Again, I'm going to repeat the process for the other one. So click off, click the other one. I'll do this one over here. Make sure the stroke is set to 1 point. Click off so that you can see it. So there we go. Now we're going to group them. So again, select both. You can press your group button. You can right click. You can press Control G. All kinds of options to group. Click off of it. Click on and move it around. Remember, we don't want to double click or we will get inside of the group. All right, so we've got them grouped. We're going to move them into position here. Now, I need this to be behind because it needs to look like it's going into that torso part. So in order to do that, I'm just going to right click it, arrange, and send to back. And this is basically the same way it's done in PowerPoint or any of those programs. We just use the arrange menu. Okay. All right, so there we go. Now it's behind, so we can't see that bottom line. Now we're going to group the whole thing again. Select everything. It's like a group within a group within a group within a group, and group. Okay, click off of it to verify your group. Pick it up and move it around to see that it works. Remember, if you accidentally double click, you're going to get inside the group, which is kind of hard to tell because there's nothing out here to gray out. But if you see this gray bar pop up at the top, you're inside the group. Just double click out here off of the artboard to get outside of the group. Okay, now we're going to work on the arm. I'm just going to do that over here on the side. The arm, as you'll see under instruction 15, is created using a rounded rectangle, a rectangle, and an ellipse. So we've got 3 different pieces for this. So notice I'm going to choose my rounded rectangle first. Just draw an oval like so. Remember, before you let go, you can press up, 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 up to make it more rounded, however you want it to be. We're going to use that for like the shoulder, so we do want it to have some good roundedness to it. Okay, then come and choose the regular rectangle, and just right below it, draw you a regular rectangle, like so. And then finally, we're going to have an ellipse, just a little oval. So choose your ellipse tool, and then come over here, oops, cancel, and then draw your ellipse. We're actually not going to use the ellipse as part of anything. We're going to use it to cut out an edge. So we've got our pieces. I'm going to click up here and start lining these up. Okay, so we're going to kind of overlap and line these up. Be careful not to double click. You might want to zoom up. I'm going to zoom up. Control plus, Control plus. All right, here we go. And again, you can resize these things too. So just pull them in if you need to resize them a bit, if you're trying to line up the edges or whatever. Okay. All right, so we want to rotate this for the shoulder so that it's just going to be turned a little bit like so. And you can rotate it more if you want. And then kind of put it down. We're creating our elbow sort of thing here. Okay. Go just a little bit more. And then line this up a bit. Okay. So there's that. And then we're going to use the bottom part to cut out this piece. But before I do that, I'm going to leave that part alone. We are going to use the Pathfinder to unite the top two pieces. So select both pieces with your black arrow. Go to Pathfinder and remember to put them together. It's click to unite. All right, there we go. Now we have our shoulder, our elbow. We've got this part of the arm. Okay, next instruction is we're going to use this part like a cookie cutter to cut out that section. So we're kind of overlapping it so that we have this inverted piece. Now select the arm and the oval. But in Pathfinder this time, instead of unite, we're going to choose the second option, which is minus front. I like to think of minus front as a punching tool. It punches out areas, but it's called minus front. Okay, so let's give it a click. And bam, that's what you get. We get this nice little edge here. And that would have been really hard to draw. So using shapes makes this a lot easier. Now let's go ahead and make it blue. So just go up here to your color and choose a shade of blue. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to create the arm, which is sort of like under the sleeve. Okay, so it's going to be a little yellow arm to match the rest of the skin of our little yellow Lego person. This is also going to be created using a series of shapes. So again, back to our shapes. We should know where those are by now, right? Rounded rectangle. And we're going to just make a little oval piece here, a little stick that's going to be the arm, like an arm bone. Okay. And then we're going to take and make an oval in a circle. So let's take the ellipse tool. I'm going to make a circle. You can hold shift to make an actual circle. And then I'm going to make an oval that I'm going to use on top of this circle in a minute. Okay. Now we're going to end up making this yellow. So, all right. So I'm going to come back to my selection tool. We're going to use this oval to cut out to kind of make like a claw. So you can make it wider if you want. It's really up to you how you want this little claw to look. We're going to cut out that middle part. So all that's going to be left is the claw. And then this is going to be like the arm. Okay. It looks kind of funny right now, but trust me, it will work. We are going to, first off, I'll move this out of the way. We're going to select these two pieces and we're going to pathfind it to join these two together. Okay. Then take your bottom oval, pop it in here to create the claw. Like that, see? Select both pieces, and we're going to punch out the top piece using minus front on the Pathfinder. All right, there we go. See, that's like our little arm piece. So now we're going to position it with this part of the arm. I'm going to go ahead and make it yellow so that it matches the rest of the body. Okay, we have like a little part sticking out, and you can resize this too. So like if you want the shape to be a little bit different or whatever. And then finally, we're going to send it to the back. Again, we're on our black arrow tool. We're going to right click. We're not going to be double clicked on anything. We're going to go to arrange and we're going to go to send to back so that now it looks like the little hand and the arm are inside the sleeve. All right. At this point, we're ready to group it all. I'm going to pull a little bit more arm out here. Okay. And now let's select all of it and then Control G, right click group, or under quick actions on the properties panel, you can press group and now we have an arm. Now we're going to create the other arm by using that transform copy method that we used before. So with your black arrow tool, clicked on your arm that you created, we're going to right click and go to transform. By the way, you can also access these options up under the object menu. The very first item is transform. So you can right click or you can use menus. So once again, we're going to reflect. Reflect is like a mirror. Okay. Now, again, if I just press OK, I'm only going to have one arm that's flipped the other way. So I have to press copy so it keeps the beginning arm and copies me the second flip-flopped arm. Okay, click copy. Now we have two arms. I'm going to pick this arm up and you can see now that we have our two arms. All right, our final instruction for this part is going to be to put all the pieces together and then to put the arms behind the torso. I'm going to press Control and 0. That lets you see everything. And then we're going to position these arms. Now you get me, you might need to resize your arms down, depending on how buff you want your guy to be, right? I'm going to go ahead and rotate this around a bit. And you might find it easier to honestly position the first one and get it sized like you want. Like I'm going to just delete this guy. And then once I get this one the size I want, then I can go ahead and transform and reflect. So it's kind of up to you. It might be easier to put it in position before you reflect it. Okay, and then we need to take these two arm pieces and send them to back. So arrange, send to back, arrange, send to back. And again, if you don't like how it looks, you can just undo. I made my guy really super buff here. I usually have a little more division there on mine, but you know what? It's okay. He's just a super buff guy. All right, finally, we've got all of our pieces there. This is looking pretty good. This concludes this section. Be sure to save and then join me for the next part. But you're doing great.